Hey guys! I'm really excited today because look, I got my wall painted, I got this whole room all done up, so now we actually have a place to shoot. A lot of the videos are still going to be, outside of this room because a lot of the projects I do, have to do with outside, but for a lot of the videos now I actually have a place to shoot. So in this video I am going to show you that we finished the curtain rods, which is actually behind the camera. And I'm going to show you how that got done. And what this video is actually about today is I'm going to show you this desk that I made in high school. Now, like I said, I made it in high school, but it is actually very well done. According to me, my genuine opinion of myself, I think I did a pretty good job. But yeah, that's what I'm going to show you. I actually got this idea for this desk. I got this idea when I was in high school. I worked in a consignment shop, and this little desk came in, and I fell in love with it. So I actually went to a tech high school. I went to Blue Hills Regional in Canton, and for our senior project, at least for me, they let me build a piece of furniture that I wanted to build. So I picked this desk, and they had me draw my own blueprints, and I did everything out of solid wood stock, and there's no metal other than the handles, no nails, no nothing, just good old-fashioned glue and wood and rabbits and dados and all this good stuff. So let's show you the desk I made. Alright guys, like I was telling you, I made this desk when I was in high school, when I was in 12th grade, which is about 5 years ago now, I believe. So, the wood that this is made out of, I actually don't know what it is. We never figured it out. I used to think it was kind of in the maple family, but it's really light. Not in light in color, which it is, obviously, but it's really light to just pick up. I mean, when all the stuff is in the drawers, it's heavy, but it's too light to be maple. I don't really know what it is. The high school I went to, they don't really do cabinet making or fine woodworking anymore. So they had a bunch of just rough sawn lumber left. So I just picked what I liked. But they weren't labeled and they weren't organized, so I had to grab what I could tell was the same kind of lumber, and then go from there. Now all the hardware it's new. It's just, old style, but I thought it matched pretty well. Now, You're gonna have to bear with me. There's a lot of stuff in the drawers, but I use it for storage. It's a lot of stuff that has to do with my projects and all this stuff, so I didn't take it out, but for what I'm gonna show you, it's fine. So this is the inside. Scruffy pad from from the painting video. So this is the inside. So this is the inside of the desk. All where I had to chisel out. It's not perfect. Like I said, I was in 12th grade, so for a 12th grader, I mean, it's not that bad. The inside is actually just a piece of finished wood plywood. Finished wood plywood. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's it's veneer ply. That's what I meant. But it worked pretty well, so you know, it wasn't really worth gluing up these huge planks and wasting stock on something that was just going to be in the back. So I ended up going with a veneer plywood, which it actually looks pretty good. So these are actually the original photos of the desk that was in the store. As you can see, I don't know if you can see. If you can tell from the photo, it was a lot taller than this one was. But I wanted it a little shorter because I'm just generally not a very tall person. But I just wanted it based off this. So what I did was I went to the store and I took all the measurements. These are all my stock measurements from when I was gluing everything up. Took different views. This is a side view, so I knew it had some kind of molding at the bottom that I had to figure out. And this is the view of the inside. So originally, and what I still want to do, is I want to build this shelving on the inside. The thing is, I started this when I was about 3/4 of a way through my senior year, and I ended up working on it after my senior year. I went in during my last air quote summer vacation before I started working and finished it. So I never actually got to do this, but now that I work in the union and all this stuff, I have more free time. So hopefully what I'm hoping to do is finish the inside, which would be really nice. So hopefully sometime in the near future I'll be able to do that. The original desk had these poles, which I put in here to hold the top up. But what ended up happening was I just didn't have enough experience with cabinet making to know that you needed to make this part a little bit thinner so these could be up high enough to catch this. Or another option would have been go with a thicker piece in the front. But I was working with the material that I had, so I didn't have thick enough pieces to be able to mill it down to have it more than 3/4 of an inch. So that was, you know, learn from your mistakes. I mean, if I was ever going to do something like this again, I would make it more than 3/4 or make those higher so this could sit on it. Another option would have been to just put pads on here, but then they wouldn't have been able to slide in, so that's okay. But I did make them so they could slide out, so I guess aesthetically it is pleasing because they can slide out. Another thing I have to do is I have to get these little handles, so at least I can pull them out if I really want to. This one went too far in, so I can't pull it out, so I'm just going to have to put the pull on there and then pull it out. So just like everything else on the desk, the drawers are also handmade. The bottom of the drawers are actually made out of masonite, which actually worked out really good for what I was using it for. I mean, I could have gone with a veneer ply, but then you risk the chance of it bending, which, I mean, masonite does the same thing, but it takes longer. I've never had a problem with it, and I'm sure a lot of other people have better ideas, but, you know, as a high school student, I just went with what I thought would be the best. Oops. Alright, so like I said, I store a lot of stuff in here. This is for a project. This is actually for a dress that I started a while ago. I'm making all these origami stars that I want to make a dress out of sheer fabric and then sew all these on there. I started this a while ago and I just never finished it, but you know, it's a project in the works. When you start working after you get out of high school, you just run out of time for stuff like that, but I plan on it. I also have a palette. So when I originally made these when I originally made these drawers, it was probably closer a little bit after December. So in the winter, the wood's really dry, so it contracts, so it's a lot smaller. So when I finally got to the point where I was putting the drawers in, they expanded. So it wasn't ridiculously tight, but it was tight enough that I couldn't get the drawers out of the in. So what I had to do was, I don't know if you guys can really tell on camera, but what I had to do was trim this part down, and I actually trimmed this down too. But in the back here, I trimmed it down more just so I didn't run the chance of it getting caught in the back, because that would have been more of a hassle. At least in the front, I have a better chance of being able to pull it out than in the back. So that's what I did on a lot of these drawers. So I was originally going to do dovetailing on all these drawers, but I didn't have the means or the knowledge to be able to do it because I got minimal help for this. I mean, what my teacher wanted us to do was he wanted me to do all the research, he wanted me to do everything, and he wanted me to do it myself. And he wasn't going to show me how to do it, he would just push me in the direction to show me where I could get the information to do it. Shout out to Mr. Harkin, best shop teacher ever. So I didn't end up doing the dovetailing, which I think if I thought about doing something like this again now, I would probably do dovetailing, just because now I have more the means to be able to try to do it rather than when I was in high school. So what I actually did was I made these fronts. This all right here is one piece and it just goes over it. And then the bottom where the masonite goes into it, it's dadoed all the way around. So this board right here isn't going anywhere. So the way I actually built this desk, I built it into two pieces. So this top part all the way down to here is one piece. And then this bottom piece with these legs is another piece. And what it does is this molding goes all the way around and this part sits inside of it. Now it's sealed in place now, it's all glued down, but you know, in the beginning I built it in two pieces. I just thought it would be a lot easier, and it was a lot easier. Now, as for these legs down here, I made those myself too. So the way you do it is you make a template like this. Then you take a block of wood that has 4 sides and you trace it like this on one side, and then the side that'd be next to this, you trace it like this. And then you cut it on the bandsaw. And then you sand and you sand and you sand and you sand. Now a lot of people might think that that's something that's not for a beginner, but I didn't have a lot of knowledge on how to build furniture, how to do something like that, and it was actually pretty easy. I mean, it's not like they're like ball and claw feet or anything. I mean, if I could do that, I would love to, and I'm sure I would probably be able to do it now, but at the time I didn't have enough knowledge to be able to do it. So another thing with these, which is, I guess, you know, you learn from your mistakes. When you make legs like this, you're supposed to have the post that this attached to go all the way up. Now, I didn't know that back then, so what I actually did was I built the posts into this part, and I took a dowel and I attached it that way. Now, that's not a bad way to do it, but the problem I run into is the glue ends up separating after a while when you move it to different places, and they end up coming loose. So I've had to glue them multiple times, which isn't the biggest deal, but if like I said, if I were to do it again, I would do it the right way and make the post go all the way up. Another thing I would do is I would build these little pieces right there and right there. I'd build them into the leg because they get knocked off. Like I said, you have to glue them back on, which isn't the biggest deal. Now, one thing I really want to show you guys are the original blueprints that I had to draw for this. Now, I made these full size, which I suppose if you guys were doing it, you wouldn't have to make them full size. It's just when I was in school, I kind of had to do what my teacher said, and they told me to make them full size, so that's what I did. So this is pretty much to scale. It's a little bit smaller than what I ended up doing, just because I made adjustments as I went and things changed. So if you can see the cutout on the bottom, I actually used that cutout for my template for the legs. But yeah, these are the drawings. You can see right here I actually have a close-up of how I wanted to do the pulls, which I actually pretty much ended up doing them the same way. And on the same note, this is the side view. Now, there's a bunch of notes on here because as you go, when you're doing something like this, you always take notes, and I always put it on the prints just so I know if I need to look back at it, it will be here. I don't have to go looking for this little piece of paper that I can't find. It's just a nightmare when you have to do that. I mean, it happens at work. People will be like, oh, where's that piece of paper you gave me? And I'm like, I don't know. I gave it to you. Why would I know where it is? Now, another reason this ended up being bigger than what my original prints were is because on my prints, I have everything drawn to exactly 3/4 of an inch, and the machining tools that were in the shop weren't completely accurate, so it ended up being a little bit bigger than 3/4, which is fine. It's just you have to make sure that you check it, because when those mistakes happen, you want to make the adjustments to be able to keep going with what you're doing, because you don't want to build one thing a little bit bigger and then the other things end up being the size of the prints, and then you get all messed up. So it's not a big deal, you just want to keep track of that. Now, all this scrolling work on the bottom, I also did myself, which is kind of along the same lines as the legs. You put it on the bandsaw, you cut it out, and you get that. Another thing when you're building something like this, which is the mistake I made, when you're building any kind of cabinet that you have to finish the inside, or at least this part of the inside was finished, you want to leave the back off, which at that time I didn't know. I mean, you can finish it with the back on, it's just so much harder. So I ended up having to finish it with the back on, which it turned out alright, but it would have been a lot easier to do it with the back off, because then the overspray doesn't get everywhere on the inside, and it's able to go right through. But not the biggest deal, but like I said, another thing I would have done differently if I ever did this again. Now, this disc is actually relatively sturdy. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, like, for a high school student, at the time, I thought this was the best thing in the world. I mean, for me, I do construction, so I mean, that's pretty impressive, but this has to be one of the finest woodworking things I've done. I mean, I build things all the time, but this just took so long and so much time and effort and planning ahead that it has to be one of, like, the most in-depth things I've done. Now, I'm sure if I did this again, it wouldn't take as much time. And I hope one day I get to do something like this again, because it was really, really fun and I enjoyed it a lot. It's just right now I don't have the time or the means to do it, or the room, which is which is fine. I mean, I do construction anyway, so it's not like I have a lack of projects to do.
What? What? Are you a big kitty? Hey. No.
Now, I really hope you guys like this video. Just remember when you watch these videos, if there's anything you'd like to see me work on, or if there's anything you'd like to see me build, or anything you'd like to see that I already have built, just drop a comment or instant message me. I'd be happy to show you. If you guys would like, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is ErynSullivan19. And again, you can message me on there. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I hope to be uploading a lot more videos soon. Like I said, I have everything in here set up so I can shoot more videos in here. I just have to work on the content I want to put in these videos and everything that's involved. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section if you like. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks. Bye.